Good morning, children. In today's class, we shall discuss the summary, literary and poetic devices used in the poem Rain on the Roof. The poem is written by Coates Kinney. This poem, Rain on the Roof, is prescribed for Standard 9 and it appears in their English Beehive textbook. So let's start today's session. The first thing that we need to know about this poem is that it's a lyrical poem. Now, what do you mean by a lyric? Well, it's a formal type of poem which expresses a poet's personal feelings or emotions. In this poem, the rain brings back wonderful memories of the poet's childhood, and he recollects those moments as he lies in the comfort of his cozy bed and listens to the steady patter of the rains. Since the poem deals with the personal feelings of the poet, we can call Rain on the Roof a lyric. Let's recapitulate the poem Rain on the Roof. In this poem, the poet expresses his love for nature and praises its beauty. It presents the memories aroused in the poet's mind by the showers falling on the tin roof. The poet is reminded of the way his mother used to bid him and his siblings a good night and puts them to sleep. Through a number of metaphors, the poet shows that the drops of rain falling on the shingles of the roof sends a train of thoughts running in his mind. The poet connects his present with his past through the memories which are revived by the rain. Theme of the poem. The poet is expressing the wonders of nature and her extraordinary power to heal the mind, body and soul of human beings as she soothes the earth with her showers of blessing, that is rain. The musical sound of raindrops falling on the rooftop has the ability to revive sweet memories and rouses fancies in an otherwise busy mind. The rain soothes and comforts an overworked mind by taking it back to its lovely past. Structure of the poem. Originally, this poem appears in 5 stanzas. However, for Standard 9, it has been divided into 3 stanzas and each stanza has 8 lines. The poet has employed a uniform rhyme scheme throughout the poem. Now let's try to find the rhyme scheme. We shall start with stanza 1. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears, what a bliss to press the pillow of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. Now you all know that to find the rhyme scheme, we need to pay attention to the last word that appears in each line. On the basis of these words, we find the rhyme scheme of a poem. Now in this stanza, first line, the last word is hover. So we assign it letter A. Second line, spheres. Spheres doesn't rhyme with hover, so it gets the letter B. Third line, darkness. Again, it doesn't rhyme with the earlier two words, so we assign it letter C. Fourth line, tears. It rhymes with spheres, so it gets the same letter, that is B. In the next line, the last word is pillow, which again doesn't rhyme with any of these words, so it gets a letter D. Next line, the word is bed. Again, not rhyming with anyone, so letter E. The seventh line, the word is patter, doesn't rhyme, so F. And the last line, overhead. It rhymes with bed, so it gets the same letter, that is E. So we can say that the rhyme scheme of stanza 1 is A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. Now if you try to find the rhyme scheme of the remaining two stanzas, there again you will find the same rhyme scheme. So we can conclude and say that the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. Now we move on to the literary devices used in the poem. We shall start with the familiar and move on to learn some new figures of speech which is introduced through this poem. The first one is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the initial consonant sound that comes in close connections. So in stanza 1, we find examples like when the humid shadows hover, the her sound is repeated. Over all the starry spheres, sir sound is repeated. What a bliss to press the pillow, per sound is repeated. And lie listening to the patter, where l sound is repeated. In stanza 2, we find other examples like has an echo in the heart, her sound is repeated. Into busy being start, b sound is repeated. Weave their air threads into woof, here two sounds are repeated, that are v and the. Next line, of the rain upon the roof, r sound is repeated. In stanza 3, we find the following examples. Now in memory comes my mother, m sound is repeated. To regard the darling dreamers, d sound is repeated. Ere she left them till the dawn, the sound is repeated. Oh, I feel her fond look on me, f sound is repeated. Hence, we find that in all the three stanzas, the poet has employed alliteration on a great scale. The next figure of speech is personification, wherein an inanimate object or an abstract idea is given a human quality. In stanza 1, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. Here, darkness is personified and it is said to have the human quality of shedding tears. In stanza 2, and 1,000 recollections weave their air threads into woof. Here, recollections are personified as the poet says that they have the human quality of weaving dreams. The next figure of speech is metaphor, where an indirect comparison is made. In stanza 1, we find the following example. When the humid shadows hover. Here, shadows signify clouds. The clouds which are full of water, they have been compared to shadows. In stanza 2, we find, and 1,000 recollections weave their bright hues into woof. Here the memories of the poet is compared to the fabric that is being woven into many colored threads. Another example of metaphor is found in stanza 3. To regard her darling dreamers. Here, darling dreamers are the children who are sleeping and probably also dreaming. The new figure of speech that we are going to learn now is onomatopoeia. Now, what is onomatopoeia? It is the use of sound words to create a dramatic effect and auditory imagery. Let's try to understand it through some examples. I heard the rustling of leaves. The chirping of birds awakened me. The murmur of the children distracted the teacher. In these three sentences, the words rustling, chirping and murmur refer to sounds, and hence the figure of speech is onomatopoeia. Let's try to find the examples of onomatopoeia from the poem. Now in this poem, the words tinkle and patter are the sounds made by the raindrops. Hence remember children, onomatopoeia is that figure of speech where sound words are used by the poet for creating a poetic effect. The next new figure of speech which is introduced through this poem is transferred epithet. Now what happens in transferred epithet is that an adjective is transferred from a noun to another noun. Let's understand it through some examples. Jack spent sleepless nights. Here the adjective sleepless has been transferred from Jack to nights. Sarah has an unhappy marriage. Now unhappy is the adjective which has been transferred from the noun Sarah to the noun marriage. Tom had a wonderful day. Here again we find the same thing. The adjective wonderful has been transferred from the noun Tom to the noun day. Now the examples of transferred epithet that we find in this poem are in stanza 1 and the melancholy darkness. Here the darkness has been qualified as melancholy. However, this melancholy adjective is transferred from the people to darkness. In stanza 2, and 1,000 dreamy fancies. Here the adjective is dreamy. It does not mean that the fancies are dreamy, but it refers to the people who have dreams. So the adjective dreamy has been transferred from the noun people to the noun fancies. I hope you have been able to understand the new poetic devices used by the poet. Thank you all for watching this video.